good.
Hi, I'm David with EV World News. We're talking electric vehicles, green energy, and the stock markets. And I'm back today with our founder and chief editor, Bill Moore. How's it going today, Bill?
It's going great. Thank you very much.
Man, so some big news in nuclear today. But right before we came on, I was looking at our stock ticker, and Tesla's at 466. I mean, it was at 220 earlier in the year. Some people are really
some people are happy.
With that. Yeah, up 3% today, which on a stock like Tesla, 3% is a big gain.
My Rivian is up 0.37%.
There you go. Lucid and Ford are down, and Ford's down 4%. That's got to be
4%.
But it's at $13. Remember, it wasn't that long ago; it was at 10. So I think that's pretty good. Nvidia, AMD, hanging out there. But the nuclear news is going to be big.
Of course,
Microsoft is turning into an AI stock.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for everything it's done over the years, it's got new stuff. But look at NewScale. NewScale up 13% today. Nano. What are they?
7%.
Yeah. And then the big one is Cameco. The big news today, Cameco is part of it, is up 23%. Oklo barely. Oklo's been bouncing back and forth. They keep having people take profit. Yeah. And every time somebody takes profit, the Oklo stock slides back 30%. It's really quite comical. So today's first story, U.S. strikes an $80 billion deal for new nuclear power plants. Westinghouse Electric, Cameco, and Brookfield Asset Management have combined in a partnership. The government's going to help with some financing and help with permits, but 80 billion of nuclear reactors built across the United States in a partnership with the U.S. government. The three companies involved in the project said on Tuesday represents one of the most ambitious U.S. investments in atomic energy in decades, underscoring President Trump's energy dominance agenda using oil, gas, coal, and nuclear. Now, we know how we feel about how his bizarre
every one of those expensive, costly sources of energy.
Oh, no question.
Yeah.
I've been working on a book on nuclear, and some of the stuff I dig up on different things of how a lot of the problems with nuclear really came from money spent by the oil and gas, to try to stop nuclear energy. And I've been reading about
surprised.
Yeah, about how they were subsidizing. The Sierra Club was pro-nuclear for a long time until they started subsidizing their leadership to convince them to switch otherwise. And it's just like, oh, well, this is kind of interesting, and so it's really interesting to see how a lot of things go in the different spaces. But looking at what's going on right now with the current Secretary of Energy, he's obviously big into nuclear, but some of the stuff that he said about solar just, makes me scratch my head. I don't, I'm a realist. Certain things don't work economically, right? And every type of energy isn't perfect for every type of setting, but there is a place for every type of energy. And, ideally, we'd like to see coal go away. But, China probably does half the world's coal usage.
Coal, it got us to where we are, at least up until the late 1800s, and when oil started, being pumped and coming in. So did you realize at one time that coal was considered a precious like diamond?
Wow, no, I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. When they started digging up coal, those little things of coal were considered extremely valuable jewels. But this goes back to the Roman period. This is long before they figured out, we can dig this stuff up and burn it, because they didn't have any more forests in England. They had to build their fleets of wooden ships and to power the steam engines of the industrial age. They had to find some other source. And guess what? coal could be burned and it was cleaner and it produced more energy per volume. So it had good things going for it in the context of people who were using beeswax, to light their homes and cutting wood and brush to cook their food by. So
I know it's amazing how coal was a solution to people's houses burning down from burning wood, right?
oh,
That
not wood, but kerosene. So many homes, and things were lost. You see, I was watching. What was it? There was some show here recently. Oh, it's the on PBS where they're doing this thing on Jane Austen and her life of past life,
Mhm.
and these people are going around with these kerosene lanterns, and there's this kerosene floating around in there, and God, and they're glass. And what happens when they're sort of top heavy? And what happens if you knock one? A lot of homes were lost. I think my father's the family's farmhouse over in Iowa burnt down because of that. Moving on to electric was a very positive step.
Oh yeah, but it's like the thing with horses were a solution to walking, and then there was a problem with horse crap, and the solution to that was
Mm-hmm.
the automobile, and we keep going round and round, and everything has its problems, right? And
But
it's
hopefully
it's
they get a little better. I mean, they address some important problems. All the horses, the
mhm.
manure and the urine was a big, problem. And as big a problem was the fact that horses got sick and died.
Well, and they
You
also
know,
killed people. They
yeah,
trample
well,
people.
trample people.
They
Yeah,
did.
they get spooked and run over people, and yeah.
The braking system wasn't the same with horses.
Whoa, Nelly.
Yeah. But anyways, but back to our topic.
Nuclear.
So we've got this huge investment by these three companies combined with the U.S. government, and then in addition to that, Google and utility giant NextEra Energy announced a partnership Monday to revive Iowa's only nuclear power plant to meet growing low carbon energy demand from AI.
Now,
The
where is that? Is that over on the Mississippi or is that on the Des Moines River?
Let me see. The Dwayne Arnold Energy Center closed in 2020. Give me just a second. It is over by Cedar Rapids.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I should know that's that river that flows through Iowa City, and yeah,
Yeah. Let's see here where this is.
not a very big water source. Typically, don't these things need? Well, it depends on what kind they're building, I guess.
Yeah, the
Do they do? Are
Cedar
they?
River. I'm looking here. I'm backing up my Iowa map here. Oh,
It's. I mean, it's
still
flooded
quite a
before.
way.
They've
It's
had.
north of Iowa City.
Yeah, yeah. Well, there's a river that flows through Iowa City and through Cedar Rapids, and they've had, what was it? Maybe 5, 10 years ago, they had flooding problems. So,
Yeah, and
and I
certainly on
forget.
the east side of Iowa, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So it's a ways from us. Will and I were talking about we had a nuclear power plant here that served the Omaha area, but I think most of it's been dismantled and hauled off, so they're not reopening it. But it'll be a 600 and the one in Iowa will be a 615 megawatt plant. Let's see here.
And that's to power what?
A Google facility.
A Google facility. Yeah.
Yeah. 615. I understand we're like 600 and about a little over 600 megawatts short here in Nebraska right now for powering AI data centers we already have.
So we're probably getting that power off of the this power pool, I imagine.
Yeah, so I know we're short here. I think Ohio's short like a gigawatt, like 1.2 gigawatts, so about double that. Yeah, so there's a couple of really big shortages around the country. But anyways, that's big news. That's why I think we know that's why Cameco is rocking on there, but
Right.
there's probably more to that. But I want to talk about these Rivian also born to Rivian. So is also a group of people that left Rivian, or are they actually funded by Rivian?
What's that
You know?
also? Oh, no, it's part of Rivian.
So it is part of Rivian.
Yeah, it's part of Rivian. Yeah.
Yeah.
At
So
least as far as I know. Yeah, it's part of Rivian.
they're making some unique delivery vehicles here that kind of, I mean, both of these have bicycle seats. I mean, there's a bicycle seat
Oh
in the
yeah,
front of
yeah.
that, bicycle seat in this one.
That's right.
Yeah, that doesn't sound comfortable at all.
Well,
I mean,
the drivers will tell you. It'd be interesting who applies for these jobs. Um, they got to be what, young, fit guys. I don't see anybody my age applying for that job.
no, I mean, I sometimes do spin class and I can't do it too many days in a row because my butt will start hurting
Yeah,
from
yeah,
the seat.
yeah.
And that's even wearing cycling gear. It really depends. If you're really cycling a lot, you really invest a lot of money in the seat on your
In the
bike.
seat, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
There's
There's a
parts for
picture of
the
something.
look at the motor. Yeah.
Well,
This is their electric bike. And apparently the quad bikes or quad delivery vehicles use very similar technology, I would gather.
yeah, still, this looks more like a rickshaw over here than it does delivery. This obviously is delivering packages. Nice and narrow, fit in bike lanes.
Although, are they legal in bike lanes? That's kind of,
Well, that's a good question.
yeah. Well, it's all things that you develop technology, then you have to write rules around that technology to make them equitably fit within the current societal paradigm. So,
Yeah, I just thought that was kind of cool looking.
well,
Certainly
the thing
something
is
different.
that not only do we have that story, but then I just posted one this morning that there is a North African company. They're out of Tunisia called Baco, and they are building something similar. Although instead of doing the four-wheeled version, they're doing the typical sort of what am I wanting to say here? The rickshaw kind of tuk-tuk type of design, and they're indigenous, which is, I found, it's kind of encouraging that instead of buying a knockdown kit out of a manufacturer in China, they're actually apparently designing and building and sourcing all their own material. They were over at the Riyadh Auto Show in Saudi Arabia, so they're out, obviously trying to expand their market. But it's a very, very similar, last mile delivery type of vehicle that they're offering. And I think it's somewhere. I remember the story. It's like $4,000 to $6,000, something like that.
It's I don't know. I guess that's not outrageous, but I guess it depends on where you're doing that at. Let's see.
Well, yeah, if you're in a major crowded hub, and you've got packaging that's going up. We see our vans, Rivian vans and FedEx and UPS vans running through my neighborhood all day long. So if you're in sort of a metropolitan, we're in suburbia, which obviously is a little bit more accessible. But if you're in a major metropolitan city, Lagos in Nigeria and Nairobi and places like that, where these things would be a good fit for people. Oh, and the one, by the way, the one out of Tunisia is solar powered.
Wow.
They have solar on the roof of the thing. Now, I don't know how much it contributes to the vehicle's range, but it's there, and they can get their some replenishing power from the sunshine, which obviously would probably be abundant in North Africa and the Middle East.
Well, I mean, as far as I know, Elf was one of the leaders in that, right? With their
oh yeah, he was a decade ahead of everybody else on that.
Yeah, we probably ought to have them back on, because
see where they're at.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really curious. There's still the video we did with them still gets lots of views, so obviously people are
interested.
Information on Elf. It's just, haven't seen anything new. Everything I see in their Facebook group is still people looking to buy an old one for parts.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know, so which is unfortunate. But that was a great little, you know, what was it? It could go 10 miles per hour forever all day as long as it was in the sunshine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was pretty, you know, decent little vehicle. And of course, it had all those impressive things where it had been hit and all these different accidents, including by vehicles going 55 and nobody was ever seriously injured in one of their vehicles as a bicycle type design. That was pretty damn impressive. You know, that's a big thing, you know, safety, obviously.
Oh yeah,
for this
absolutely.
stuff. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right. So BYD, European sales surge 5 times. BYD's overtaken Tesla as Hong Kong's top selling EV brand. Although, you know, I would imagine BYD must outsell Tesla in a lot of markets because they sell more EVs than Tesla does.
Oh yeah,
worldwide.
So where they were, oh God, the numbers there were around 4 million, something like that. And what are they doing a year? They're doing what, 1.5 million a year?
Oh no, they're selling 4 million plus a year.
Oh.
Yeah. And BYD is unveiling a first all-electric K car for the Toyota
over in
Motor
Japan.
Show.
Yeah.
For the Tokyo Motor Show, signaling aggressive expansion into Japan's unique vehicle segment. I just can't imagine BYD being that well received in Japan, but you never know.
Yeah, there's not a lot of love lost between those two countries, particularly right now. There's a lot of anti-Japanese sentiment in it has been historically. I remember when I was there, and my coach in 2002 was you know, recalling the brutal you know, regime of when Japan was occupying China. There was no love lost there for sure.
No, I remember how anti-Japanese vehicles my father was.
Oh so, yeah.
But he was in the South Pacific for 3 years, so yeah. So you know, I get it. Let's see. Now here's a weird one. China drops EVs from their 5-year plan amid an oversupply crisis.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, so China has excluded EVs from its latest 5-year economic plan as the industry grapples with severe oversupply. This marks a dramatic shift from Chinese aggressive EV promotion policies of the recent years.
Well, that's largely a budgetary issue. That China is having very serious financial trouble. That you know, you've got companies over there, some of them of which are working on government projects, who haven't paid their workers in months.
Oh,
in months. These people are lining up and arguing, and some of them are they're getting back. Not only, you know, in the more mild cases, they're climbing on top of the buildings and they're yelling. There's one there, for example, there's apparently a restaurant over there where all of the chefs climbed onto the roof of the restaurant with their pots and started banging the pots, bringing attention to the fact that we haven't been paid in weeks, if not months. And there are other businesses there where people haven't been paid literally in months. And some of those cases, those people have just said, "I've had enough of this. I'm going to set fire to the factory." And they've had a lot of problems with factories being set on fire by disgruntled workers who aren't being paid.
Wow. You know, Bobby, it's true. So you got this conflict between consumers and people who work in the automotive industry. So if you're in the automotive industry, whether you're the company or you're somebody who just works in U.S. auto manufacturing, you don't want those cheap Chinese cars over here in the U.S. But if you're a consumer,
particularly not only if you're management, particularly if you are the UAW, because now you're going to be putting your union members out of work. And while they haven't been as powerful as they might have been a few decades ago, the union is still a powerful political force.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, but it's interesting how you have that conflict between a mix of the workers and the owners versus consumers. Because a consumer, Man, I'd love to see ten to twenty
Yeah,
thousand dollar electric
no
cars flood
kidding.
the U.S. market. Then all of a sudden, people be changing their tune about a lot of things in the space.
Well, here let me add something that the rumor is that Canada is now going to drop its tariffs on Chinese-made electric vehicles.
hmm.
So we've got Chinese vehicles and being imported into the Mexican market, and now we've got the very real possibility of the Chinese vehicles, getting greater access to the Canadian market. I would call that a pincer movement.
I don't know how the tariffs affect if you went and you bought a used BYD down in Mexico. I kind of wondered how
It
that
has to,
plays
you've
out.
got to license it here, and if it cannot be meets traffic safety standards, you probably you might have it and drive it on a limited 6 month or whatever they typically allow these to cars to be imported. Then you're going to have to get rid of it, send it back to
Ah,
Mexico, or crush it.
okay. So if the BYD probably hasn't done the U.S. traffic safety standards,
No,
so,
no, no.
so yeah. Oh, well, so there you go. So we don't have to really worry about BYD in the U.S. for a bit because of that. But I'm just saying that might be a way that some of it starts getting around that, right? Because I know that people bring their BYDs with Mexican tags into the U.S. because we see
Sure,
people,
they can drive them across the border,
right?
but they can't license them here.
Yeah. Okay. Um, Well, so this is interesting. So this Reuters article on the Chinese 5-year plan says the move suggests China's EV market is maturing rapidly and faces consolidation, which is bad news for weaker players like Lucid and Rivian trying to compete globally. That's probably quite accurate. So there's like 150 companies making EVs in China, and if they start
All
consolidating down,
right, all shapes and sizes now. Let's
yeah.
they're not all automobiles. They're scooters and trucks and tractors and
All right, let's see. Here's something that I don't find extremely surprising. General Motors announces it's ending work on next generation hydrogen fuel cell development through its Hydrotech brand. The decision reflects the reality that hydrogen fueling infrastructure has failed to materialize in North America. It hands the hydrogen vehicle space to Toyota and Hyundai, who continue investing despite limited commercial success.
yeah,
Once again, Bill and I don't hate hydrogen. We just hate the economics.
just
It,
does
it
does
just,
not does not work. And there's a story that I came across. Oh, it was saying it's one of the ones I call a grain of salt. Take this story with a grain of salt. And the headline was, China is focused on green hydrogen while America is, leaving it behind, something along that line. And I thought, well, there's probably a reason why America isn't doing the same thing that China is doing with respect to green hydrogen. It's called cost.
yeah, I don't know. I've met some people who felt that they were going to change the world with hydrogen, and I'm just like, I'm, I think, and they were smart people, but I just don't know how you get over the economics. It works
No.
well when you have free electricity or free power of some sort to create it. Um, Otherwise, it just doesn't. And it's just hard to continuously get
Yeah,
those.
what we're speaking of here, obviously, is what we call green hydrogen, because most of the hydrogen that's used today that you buy from, the company that supplies your welding materials or, gases or whatever, most of that is derived from steam reformation of natural gas. So this is methane, CH4. So there's one carbon atom for every 4 hydrogen atoms. So you separate those using high pressure steam, and you keep the H4 and you discard the C1, right? And that typically gets discarded up into the atmosphere, which of course adds more carbon dioxide, for warming and all those negative issues. So
Yeah. Well,
ideally, you want to have a nice stream of water, or even water vapor out of the air, and you can, take that H2O, and strip the hydrogen away cleanly and use that. And what are you putting into the atmosphere? Just more oxygen, right? So.
yeah, I mean, well, we're not going to argue that we're making something clean, but it's just it's tough. So one of the things that I like a little bit about solar and wind is they make economic sense, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and there's a lot of things that make economic sense. They seem viable. It seems worth investing in those, even if the U.S. government doesn't like it. But
Current U.S. government.
The current U.S. government,
Yeah.
yeah. But it's really, but hydrogen, man, as much as I'd like to see it work out, it just,
Yeah. Well, like I like to say, I was at the beginning. I sat in a press gaggle at Ford Motor Company's headquarters, where Ford Motor Company announced that they were going into hydrogen.
mhm.
And they took us out to the track, and they let us drive a couple of their cars that were internal combustion engines that were powered by hydrogen. And that was, when GM was announcing that they were developing their hydrogen, fuel cell concept car of the future, built on the skateboard. That was not Larry Bird, but anyway, who was their chief designer at the time. So there was a lot of promise and hope and hype around hydrogen. It solves all our problems. Well, then people started looking at the economics of it, and the reality of trying to make hydrogen, contain hydrogen, trying to ship hydrogen, and then to use it in a way that's clean. And that required fuel cells, and fuel cells at that time required platinum, and that was expensive. And so, it just ran into a lot of obstacles once they started looking at it seriously.
Yeah, it sounds good on paper, right? It just hasn't worked out well in the real world. But anyways, all right. So Elon Musk's politics cost Tesla over 1 million sales in U.S. alone, according to a new study. Now, we've talked about Musk and politics, and
kind of hard to avoid it.
Yeah, it's hard to, but they argue that Tesla's sales would have been 67 to 83% higher between October of 22 and April of 25. That's an absolutely massive number, and I assume part of that must be like when he bought Twitter. Is maybe what their assumption is.
When did he jump ship? When did he? That would be the indicator, when he carried the kitchen sink into the headquarters at Twitter.
Yeah, but the big thing was when Trump got shot. That was when Musk officially started supporting Trump. Yeah. And let's see, before October 22nd, counties with more Democrats showed an increasing preference for Teslas compared to Republican counties. This makes sense, as we know EV adoption has historically been higher among liberal-leaning buyers. After October 22nd, the trend dramatically reverses. Musk's political activities, including relaxed content moderating of far-right and extremist voices and massive campaign contributions, ramped up. Democrat-leading counties began shifting away from Tesla purchases. Yeah. Let's see.
Yeah, they buy stickers to put on their car. I bought this before I knew Elon was nuts or whatever that
right.
Sticker
said. I've seen those. Yeah. Let me see. By the first quarter of 2025, the study estimates Tesla's monthly sales would have been about 150% higher, if not for the effect of that. Those 1 million buyers didn't give up on EVs. They bought from competitors.
Yeah.
Well, that may be the case. I mean, we know that a lot of companies' sales really surged when Musk really entered politics. What was that, around October last year? It was about a year ago.
About the same time. Yep.
Yeah. And, and we saw Tesla's stock price drop to 220, and now it's at 466 today.
Yeah. And Doge didn't help much either. So,
yeah. But CEOs of companies shouldn't be getting involved in politics, and that's why you almost universally see them not.
Not.
Yeah,
And
they're
of
not
course,
endorsing.
that's changed. What do we got? $300 million to build this ballroom. That's almost all of that coming from
Private donors.
private billionaire donors.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so most really wealthy individuals I know give money to both parties.
Well,
Okay. And so they want to be able to call in a favor from whoever wins.
whichever guy occupies that office at the Senate or
Right.
House building. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's that's how one gets influence. It's tough to just zero in on one side. But in all fairness to Musk, Biden snubbed Tesla over
Yeah, I
and
don't. Yeah,
over
I
and
don't.
over.
I really that I would like to better understand what happened there. Obviously, Elon has a very non-labor union friendly attitude, and of course, Biden has. That's been one of the centers of his, political persuasion. His power was he's the first president who stood on a strike line on behalf of UAW workers. So yeah, I could see where if you. I think that was, and of course, maybe he knew where Musk really was on the political spectrum of things.
Yeah.
We saw that once Musk got a hold of Twitter and started saddling up to, or is that the word I'm looking for? Sliding up next to Trump and doing his his ketamine jump, whatever that was,
Mhm.
and his salute.
Yeah.
So
I don't
maybe
know.
maybe they knew that's kind of the direction he was anyway. But yeah, they kind of, I don't know. There should have been a better way to handle that with respect to, because hey, we wouldn't be where we were. The automakers wouldn't be pushing EV the way they have had up to this point, had it not been for Tesla and for Musk. It just wouldn't happen.
Yeah, it's just kind of the nature of things.
Oh,
All
here we
right.
go again. No soul, no air. Dang it.
Just well, log out and back in. Of course, you can't hear me. Bill's having technical difficulties. I'm going to go ahead and go on to my next article. While this one isn't necessarily a Musk bashing article, Tesla risks losing CEO Elon Musk if $1 trillion pay package isn't approved, their board chairman says. Their board chairman, Robin Denholm, asked shareholders to vote for this, said Musk was key to the future of the EV makers. It focuses more on full self-driving and Optimus. It's very interesting. I talk about this all the time. That if Musk says we're going to do this, he's going to try to execute. And he tends to get things done. You look at what he's done with SpaceX and what he's done with Tesla and with other places. And he consistently is somebody that investors have a lot of faith in, and that he's going to get things done. And this pay package is only worth 1 trillion if Tesla's worth 10 trillion. And so I don't even think Tesla's market cap is a trillion. Let me see. Current TSLA market cap is, it's 1.46 trillion. So it has to go up about 6 to 7 fold from where it is to be worth, for his pay package to be worth a trillion, which seems really hard to fathom that we could, that it could become the world's first $10 trillion company. But we'll see where that ends up.
Okay, well, I have to
back.
add, I have to add here that I was out briefly because I lost audio again. I don't know what's happening, but I'm back. So you were talking about the $1 trillion pay package, I gather.
Yeah. Their chairman was stating they need to do this, but it's only worth a trillion if they reach 10 trillion in valuation. So, and they're at 1.5 trillion. I think the biggest company is worth about 3 trillion now. I think Nvidia
I don't know.
is up
Who
there.
is that?
I'm going to say what?
I know Apple would be up close to that, but I don't know who else.
Nvidia. Nvidia is at 4.66.
Oh well, yeah, Nvidia. Good Lord.
Apple is right at 4 trillion. They're at 3.98. Microsoft's at 3.95. Google's at 3.26.
Where's Oracle?
Let's see if it's on the list. What I get for a list there. It didn't give me anything beyond the top 4, but that's still pretty big. What CEO works for free unless they hit their numbers? None that I know of. Well, it's not like he's. I don't know. It's a weird situation with all this. And to be fair, if a company was worth 10 trillion, it makes him a trillionaire anyways because he still owns enough stock. Actually, I really wouldn't be surprised to see SpaceX be in the drone business.
Well, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, you look at NASA does drones and other things. You would think that there would be something going on there, right?
Well, there's constant YouTube videos of supposedly Tesla building, electric jet planes or things of that nature. So, wouldn't be surprised that there's a little group, there that has been tasked to, take a look at this, see what you come up with. We don't have to, we might as well consider it given the direction the eVTOL business is going. Maybe we ought to play a part in that. So it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah,
someday come out.
The fact that SpaceX has figured out how to make space travel so much cheaper than NASA did seems a little ridiculous. That they've been able to accomplish some of the things and provide some of the services to the U.S. government for so much less than the U.S. government can do it itself. But
to be fair, the U.S. government was simply hiring people, Lockheed Martin and Boeing, to actually build the spacecraft. And in fact, I just watched a video on this. And basically what NASA did was they just managed the money. But the actual construction and all that was being done by, contracted suppliers. And those suppliers were, they were their profit centers were, maybe in airliners and not one-off single build, spacecraft of some kind or another.
Oh, by the way, Oracle's only worth 808 billion.
Oh, is that all? Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Well,
bunch
now we
of
know.
Lightweights.
Yeah. Come on, Ellison, get with it.
It's interesting. When I look at so much stuff in the nuclear space and what the valuations of all these companies are, and like Oklo and NuScale are both around $20 billion, which seems just absolutely ridiculous to me that
they've got nothing. They have nothing at this point, do they?
Right. They have no revenues. Well, NuScale's got a little bit, but it's licensing revenue.
Yeah.
But no real revenue for the core business of delivering nuclear reactors. And then I look at it's like, a little company like Oracle's at 800 billion, and then
builds all the world's internet servers and clouds and.
Yeah, and some of these companies are so much bigger. Tesla at 1.5 billion, and then we're looking at Nvidia at 4.6 trillion. I'm sorry, trillion. Not billion, trillion.
Is that because I keep reading about how people are saying this whole AI thing is just one big internet bubble like it was in the year 2000. Is that what we're looking at here?
So think about this. Nvidia isn't doing AI. Nvidia is selling
the chips.
Parts.
Yeah.
They're selling the parts.
Yeah.
Right. So they're the main parts provider. Now, Microsoft has always been incredibly valuable as a software maker. Right. And so now they're really big in cloud services and AI and things like that.
And actually, the Copilot is probably my favorite AI. I turn to it most of the time. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just saying I don't know how much of it is a bubble. I think a lot of it is what they anticipate the revenues are going to become for these companies. I
Well,
look at
here,
OpenAI and they have so many people paying $20 a month. I mean, I pay a really unknown company that instead of ChatGPT, but I'm just saying that it's so much.
and I use Copilot. I don't know when are they going to start charging me for doing what I'm doing, because I use it all the time and I haven't at this point paid them a dime. So I don't know. At least from an old man retiree's point of view, I don't know. Where they're going to get the money from guys like me. I mean, it's
So
an incredibly valuable service, and if we could figure out how to, make EV World make us some money,
there you go.
then
Yeah,
I could afford to pay them.
there you go. OpenAI has about 25 million paid subscribers. So you figure if those are all paying $20 a month, that would
And somebody just called for their breakup. Who
really.
was that? Yeah, there's somebody. I don't know whether it was Bernie Sanders or somebody. They're calling for the OpenAI's breakup.
Yeah, well, that would be about 6 billion in revenue a year, which that's something. Yeah, and yeah, Yogi pays $20
Yeah.
a month for OpenAI. Yeah, there's no question that it's worth it. It's just that how valuable. Now, OpenAI isn't public yet, but they've got. I think they're estimating they have a $500 billion valuation or
Oh,
something like
what's
that.
that? What's his name again? The OpenAI guy. He's
Sam
in.
Altman.
Yeah, Sam Altman has an open feud with OpenAI feud with Tesla and Grok or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Let's see, what is the market value of OpenAI? Yeah, they're roughly valuing it at 500 billion. It's just
Chump change.
yeah.
Well, what is XAI? Are they? They're not. They're not public yet, are they?
No, and that's part of Twitter.
Yeah.
So Grok is. I have a lot of people who tell me that Grok is their personal favorite, but I've not really ever used it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many of them, and the one that I use, it picks which one it's going to use based on
what you're asking.
Based on what it thinks I'm
Yep.
doing and what's best. But let's see. Let me keep going down the list. So the Yangtze River in China becomes the world's largest electric corridor.
Yeah.
So there are all kinds of electric cargo ships and shore power stations.
Well, I don't know if there's all
1,000 miles.
kinds. I think there's a handful of them. The most recent one was was commissioned. They're building services, along the thing, but how totally, again, some of this stuff I take is Chinese spin, right? And I tend to take some of this with a grain of. I think it's a great move, and that's the Yangtze is the Mississippi of China, but yeah, I mean it's a step in the right direction, and I'm good for them, and keep it up.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because we look at some of these things like, okay, we have no battery swapping locations in the United States, right, for cars.
Not
like,
to mine, not that I'm aware of.
Yeah. So if you're going to ask somebody random, it's like, well, how many do you think China might have? And it's like
thousands.
Well, yeah, you and I know. You and I know.
Yeah.
Most people think, maybe 10 or 20 or something.
Oh,
It's
thousands.
like, no. It's literally
Last number I saw was what?
5,000.
Yeah, 3,000 or 5,000, some number like that.
I know 3,000 is just NIO.
Yeah.
And they're not the only ones with it. Yeah. So Cattle's got their own as well, and they're not even making the cars.
No.
Yeah. And then the other one is that, how I talk about how I think that battery swap will be the technology that dominates in big trucks, because it makes the most sense, because they don't have the trucks sitting there. The thing is, you think about it, the truck's pulling into a, not a truck stop. Well, yeah, I guess it is a truck
Wait,
stop.
well, they could pull into way
Yeah.
stations.
Well, I'm just saying, but they pull in to get gas, right?
Right.
And they fuel up on both sides.
Right.
And it doesn't take a crazy long time, but they'll be refueling and they may go inside while it's fueling because it takes a while to put in.
Right. Go take a
all that
shower,
fuel.
shave, get lunch, dinner,
But
whatever.
if you were pulling up and you have two big batteries that are, say, like 200 kilowatts on each side, and you have a 1 megawatt charger on each side. I mean, we're talking massive amounts of power draw that has to be there for this to be instantly available. But even if you were pumping a megawatt per minute into one of these vehicles, you're still talking, if you're putting, a couple hundred, you're still talking more than an hour.
You're dimming the lights for a lot of neighborhoods around that station.
Right. Yeah. But I'm just saying that, you could have two batteries with a separate charger on each side,
right.
And you're charging it forever, or, for like an hour or more still with those big batteries. And then, but your option would be to just go in and swap for a new battery, which would take like 3 to 5 minutes.
Right.
And then the line isn't the same because that 3 to 5 minutes is probably less than what they do for gas. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So anyways, I'm just saying then you don't have a massive line of trucks backing up onto the freeway.
Well, then you have what's happening in France.
Mm-hmm.
I just put this online today. The A10 outside of Paris has a 1.5 kilometer inductive charging built into the road. Mm-hmm. And so you can charge. They tested this, and it seems to be working. You can charge those heavy over-the-road vehicles. In England they call them lorries. I'm not sure what the French term would be, but they're just driving along. You're just driving down the highway, and you're being charged as you drive. As you just drive. Now, obviously, that means a huge investment in repairing, digging up, installing new roadway and the charging system underneath it. But that's it. That's a way forward, and they're doing similar research in Germany and in Italy.
Isn't there a plan to do that in Florida? I thought there was a stretch of highway they were doing that.
I don't know. I was specifically focused and asking AI about what was going on in Europe.
Okay.
So,
last article: Korean Air selected Archer Aviation as exclusive partner to introduce eVTOL aircraft in South Korea. It includes potential purchase commitments for Archer's Midnight eVTOL aircraft. Major airlines entering the eVTOL space validates electric aviation as a real commercial opportunity, not just futuristic hype. Well, we've seen the commitments from the Chinese on getting personal eVTOLs in China. We know this is going to be
not only China, in Saudi Arabia.
Yep. It's certainly going to keep going. Oh, yeah. Yeah, now I'm seeing the article about the France's A10 motorway.
Yeah.
1.53 kilometers of range per kilometer driven.
Yep.
Yeah. That's
300. The maximum peak is 300. Oh God, what was it? Kilowatts. And generally driving along, its average is about 300 kilowatts per. In terms of the power that's being radiated out from the floor of the highway, the antenna basically that receives that energy.
All right. Well, Bill, that's all I got for today. Folks,
hey, there's plenty more that you can find. What am I up to? Somewhere 70, 80 news stories on the website in the last 24 hours, besides the ones that AI has helped me write. So yeah, there's always plenty of stuff there. We cannot talk about it all because we'd be here all day, literally.
It's just hard to fathom that there's so much news every day in this space.
It's amazing. It is. Well, it's a tiny world, but it's also a big world. So
it is. Anyways, everyone. Now tomorrow I should be talking about wireless charging. It'd be if third time's
and ask Mike about the status of the power plant, the Fort Calhoun facility. What's happened there? I'd
okay.
be interested.
Okay.
Okay.
Anyways,
All right.
be back tomorrow, folks.
Au revoir.
Thanks for watching.